Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I am back. I am back. And I am so honored to have in my lobby right now Mr. Roger Capps, the original bass player for Pat Benatar. Capps traveled the world. He co wrote such tracks as Hell is for Children, played on all of Pat Benatar's platinum albums, The Heat of the Night in 1979, Crime of Passion in 1980, Precious Time in 1981, Get Nervous in 1982, Live from Earth in 1983, and many more. So, without further ado, I am going to bring my special guest up, Mr. Roger Capps. How are you doing, brother?
I'm terrific today. Hi, Mary.
How are you doing? Oh, it's such an honor. It's such an honor. Rooster says hello, and Robert says hello, and Derek Prashant from 434 Management says no pic, baby. So we can't see a picture. But how are you doing?
Well, I've got my coffee and my puppy, and I put a little whipped cream in the coffee, so I'm pretty happy.
So, Roger, tell us. Oh, and Jan goes, "Hey!" She's another female singer. She's a big Pat Benatar fan. And she says, "Hey!" And Rob says, "What's happening, Roger?" Michael says, "Roger rocks." And Derek Pashan says, "I gotcha. Hello, everyone." And Scott says, "Roger, my buddy." So everyone is super excited. So, Roger, Mr. Badass bass player Roger, how in the world did you meet Pat? And how did you become part of Pat Benatar's band? Let's get a little history on you, baby.
Well, I had been in lots of bands, and we ended up in Richmond, Virginia. And while we were there, the singer in my band, his father died, so he quit the band and left, and I stayed in Richmond. And I went down to a jam session at Sam Miller's Exchange Cafe in a place called Shockoe Slip. And Pat sat in, and the guy that ran it offered me the gig. Uh, he said, "Our bass player is leaving, and so come play." So I came in that Wednesday night and played with the band, and Pat was the singer with that band. And after the first set, he said, "We really like you. Will you play with us permanent?" I said, "Well, I'll think about it." And after the next set, I said, "Okay, I'll do it," because I didn't have a job. And we started. And so that was Phil Coxon. He had his grand piano there at the gig. And I learned all their songs. He had a few originals. And we played a lot of Vegas show material, Neil Diamond, stuff like that. And played for a few months. And then Phil got the opportunity to cut a live record. So our first record, which is before In the Heat of the Night, was live at Sam Miller's Cafe. And it's that same material. And Pat singing, and we had horns, and Mike S on guitar. And it was a pretty big band. And we cut the record in the studio live, and it sold really well, and we got a little better known. And then Patty went to a concert and saw Liza Minnelli, and she said to herself, "I can do that to people too." She left Richmond and went to New York. So there I was in Phil's band, and the band had gotten down to like a quartet.
Mhm.
And I missed Patty so much, I got in touch with her by phone. And then I followed her up 6 weeks later, and we started playing at Catch a Rising Star. Rick Newman, who owns the place, loved her and began managing her. I came and played with her there at Catch a Rising Star, which is really, they'd have a couple of comedians and a singer, comedians and singer every night. And we met more musicians and wrote a couple of songs. And then she got the record deal, and we went into the studio and did that first album in the heat of the night. And then we worked together for 10 years. We had a really, really great time.
Well, I seen the video of when y'all were on American Bandstand, and
Hmm.
he interviewed her. And I mean, anybody that has seen or heard, you know, Hell is for Children, you helped co-write that song, and that's back in my, when I was growing up in my day, that was one of my favorites. I mean, I was
Well,
a
thank you so
rock
much.
I was a rock child, and my mom couldn't stand it. But it was like, hell is for children. And then it was hit me with your best shot. And I mean, it's just, this is a true honor for me. Rob
Well,
says, what happened to the rhythm guitar player in the keyboard player from the early days? Why did Neil and Pat cut them?
well, Scott Sheets was the rhythm guitar player, and that was a great band, just fabulous, a hell of a sound. Uh, then they streamlined because Neil wanted to be the only guitar player. And when Scott was gone, I missed the sound, so I started playing eight-string bass, which added more sound to the band. And I still play eight-string bass today. When I go sit in with Benatar tribute bands, I take my eight string. That way, the bass player can play, so the whole band gets to jam with me, and we have a good time.
Yeah, I've seen some live videos of you doing that, and it I mean, if I ever get back on stage again with my band Sister Rock, I would love to have you come play bass on a Pat
I
Bennett.
would love to come play too.
I will make that happen some way, somehow, brother. I see a lot of people watching. We got Sarah, we got Douglas, we got Chris Allure, we got Rob, we have got Derek Prashon, we've got Michael, we got Rooster. Thanks everyone for being here. This is, if you're late to the party, this is Mr. Roger Capps, original bass player for legendary Pat Benatar, the legend himself, him and his little buddy Hambone. Where is Hambone at?
He's right here. Hey, buddy. Oh, he likes to kiss me.
That's his little sidekick. Robert says, ask him. I just asked where Hambone is. He goes, that's where Hambone is. And Sarah says, if that ever happens with you coming down and sitting in with Sister Rock when we have our reunion, she says she wants to see that.
I'll go anywhere and play with anyone, anytime.
So,
With COVID, there hasn't been that many gigs this year.
yeah,
And happily, there's a gig tonight. I'm going to play some tonight.
Miss Jan Marie says, oh, she loves your puppy.
Oh, Hambone's a multi poo. He's 8.5 pounds, 6.5 years old.
Said he's so cute. And
He
Rick
is.
said, can you can you play a little bass for us?
Sure. Yeah,
I
I think I can do ham bone, hold the phone, and play bass.
Oh my gosh. Do you have a way to prop up your phone so you can do that so you don't have to have all your hands full of stuff?
I'll figure it out.
That's what you call a trooper. And Michael says, "Did you ever meet Lemmy?"
Who? Lemmy?
Yes.
No, I never did. No.
He's tuning it up,
I
guys.
feel
He's getting
tuned.
Bob says, "Once you get it tuned, play the bass line for Love is a Battlefield."
Sure, that's one of my favorites. I have to tune it down to D. I remember the day we recorded that. Neil came over by the mixing board with me, and I'd never heard the song before. And he played the demo for me. And he said, "What we got to do is a lot of whole notes, give it a lot of space." I said, "Okay." So there's a whole bunch of this
Oh, yeah.
while the guitar and the keyboard are doing their thing and the synthesizer, just
Mhm.
long D notes.
Right.
And then on the chorus it goes. And then more whole notes.
Right.
Then at the end, it gets real fancy, and Neil showed me pretty much what to play. It was. And then I took a line from Green Eyed Lady.
Uh-huh.
Then more whole notes. That works. Of course, I
Awesome.
played that on a 4 string bass. I'm playing an 8 string right now.
Rob said, "What is it like to play with Ginger Barker from the band Cream and Blind Faith? What was it like?"
Well, I had a band with Greg Wright, who I met when he was rehearsing at TVC with the Jacksons Victory Tour. We became friends, and when that finished up, and I was finished with Benatar, we got together and got a band together, and had Ginger Baker on drums. So we were a trio. And Ginger is a metronome, just right in the pocket. And he lived up in Palmdale. He has a ranch up there, and we went up there and rehearsed, and we played a few gigs. We had a pretty good time. But one thing about Ginger is if you look up curmudgeon in the dictionary, you'll see Ginger's picture. He's pretty sour, pretty sour. Bless his heart. Uh, but I guess being who he is and where he has been, uh, might make you sour.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So when So, give us a little history about you, sweetheart. When was the first time that you picked up a bass or that you decided that you wanted to be a bass player? What made you decide that you wanted to be a professional bass player?
Well, that's kind of interesting. In high school, uh, well, in the beginning, we went to California to visit my sister and her new husband. And we're at his parents' house. That's where we stayed when we visited. They had a swimming pool, and his bedroom, he had a guitar, a K acoustic. And I became fascinated with that guitar, and I started playing it. I didn't know how to play, but I had to play it. I couldn't help it. And then when my sister had her first child, my mom went to California from Tennessee to uh, to be with her. And when she came back on the train, she brought that guitar on her lap with no case. Uh, my my brother-in-law Rich gave that to me because he knew I loved it. So that was my first guitar, and I figured out I had a really good ear, and I figured out a lot of songs on it. And then one day there's a knock on the door, and I open it, and it says, "I'm Carrie Hodge. Are you Roger?" I said, "Yes, I am." Said, "Do you have a guitar?" I said, "Yes, I do. Let me see it." And I invited him in. He went to the same school I did, and I just met him that moment. And he sat down and tuned the guitar. I didn't know how to tune a guitar. So all the songs that I had figured out on an untuned guitar were gone. That's when I figured out I had a really good ear because it didn't take me but a week or two to get all 20 of my songs back again. I figured them out with the new
Right.
tuning. And so then Carrie got a band together. We had drums and three guitars. I was third guitar. So I played the root and the fifth, and Carrie played lead, and Charlie played the other lead. And I played on Charlie's spare electric guitar. And we had that band and played a few high school things in junior high school. And then one day I was downtown Knoxville on Gay Street, a pawn shop. In the window, I saw this red guitar. And I told mom, and bless her heart, she got me that guitar. So now I had an electric guitar. And then about a year later, uh, Carrie told me, he said, "Roger, if you don't get a bass and an amp, you're fired." So I said, "Mom," she got me a Gibson EBO bass and an Atlas 4 amp, made payments. And so I became the bass player out of necessity because I wanted to be in the band. I had to play music.
Right.
And the band got better and better and bigger and bigger. And that's how I became a professional bass player. And I was good at it. And I've stuck with it. I guess it's 45 years now. And I wouldn't play anything else. I can write on keyboards, I can write on guitar, but I'm not a good player on either one of those instruments. But
Right.
on bass, I do really well.
Derek Prashant said it was probably all the cute little chicks that made him want to play music.
Well, I did find that fascinating. As a matter of fact, my mother had the minister come over and have a talk with me. He says, "Roger, if you play music, you're going to be playing in honky tonks, and there's going to be loose women there." And a light went off in my head, and I never
He's like,
doubted that I
oh,
was going to be a professional musician. So
uh,
thanks, Mom.
Rob says, I wanted to announce that today, on this very day, Crimes of Passion went number 2 on the Billboard charts in 1981.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And we had one gold 45 that was Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Him,
And Neil, bless his heart, put Hell is for Children on the flip side.
the first song I ever sang live was Hit Me With Your Best Shot. Hit me with your best shot. Fire
Yeah, yeah.
away.
Well, the funny thing is when Neil brought that into the studio, I said, "We don't play bubble gum, do we?" And I mean, I played it anyway, and son of a gun, if that wasn't the only 45 that ever went gold for us.
So you actually co-wrote Hell is for Children. Um, was there other songs that you helped co-write? And
Yeah. Well, actually, with my background, my dad was a bit rough, and I wrote that song and brought it into Patty, and she liked it, and we started playing it at Catch a Rising Star as a duo, just me and her on bass. And then when we got the record contract, Neil got with Patty, and they wrote a verse, and Neil added that "Hell is for Hell" part at the end and the fast guitar stuff,
well,
and that really made the song come together.
and
They
Rob,
took they took a rough song that I made and made something really beautiful out of it.
so that song was about your childhood then, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah. Dad was a World War II vet, and he was a poor kid from Harlan, Kentucky, and he had a rough life, and that's just how he knew how to be.
right.
And and that's too bad for him. When he died, my first thought was, now the children are safe. It wasn't, oh, dad's dead. So I didn't lose any love when he died.
Rob asked, "What was your role in the song We Belong?"
Um, they brought that in. It had been done, and we had a demo of it, and they let me play what I wanted to in it, and so I got to add a couple of bass lines to it, and Patty just sang it beautifully, and it was fun to record. I enjoyed it.
Okay. And Robert says, "I just wanted to say what a great guy Roger is." Robert, this is from Robert Jordan. He says Roger is.
Oh, I know him.
He always responds to his fans. So he's basically giving you props because you're always, still to this day, about your fans. And Gina says, "I love it." So she's an Arkansas promoter. So you got with Pat Bennett.
Oh, Arkansas, they got the best catfish in the world down there.
That's where I'm from. That's where I'm live from right now, baby. Uh,
Really? Yeah.
yes,
I went to, we played in BB, Arkansas, and I had catfish, and it just blew me away. I never forgot it.
I live in Benton, Arkansas, which is in between Hot Springs. Or actually, I live in Haskell, which is between Hot Springs and Benton, which is about 45 minutes from the capital, from Little Rock.
I've been to Hot Springs. Yes, I know where that is.
Yeah, you passed my street and didn't even know it. so
Doggone it.
so you got with Pat, and you got people started noticing, and you guys just skyrocketed. What was it
Well,
like?
yeah, I was by myself in Richmond. She went to New York at Catch a Rising Star, and I had to go up there. I got an apartment, and we started playing, and we started getting gigs, and we played nearby colleges and other clubs in New York, and we just had the best time ever. It's the great time of my life.
Awesome. Well, when COVID's gone and we can make it possible for you to come down here and jam with Sister Rock, Derek says I have to take you to Sticky Fingers Rock and Roll Chicken Shack because they got the best dang chicken in the world.
Sounds good. Well,
And,
I'm only a few miles from Seattle Tacoma Airport. I'd be glad to hop on a plane.
and Gina says Bull Shores, Bull Shows Canvas, and 1890 Village, Bull Shoals, Arkansas. I guess she's seen you in Bull Shoals. I guess in some show in the 90s. So, so Roger, I know you're still playing bass, and like you said, you and Hambone got this gig tonight, and you told me that you will not take a gig anymore unless you can bring your little Hambone with you. That is your
I've turned
side.
down several gigs because I played a couple without him and I just wasn't happy. And so I decided if they don't allow dogs, they don't allow me either.
There you go. There you go. Rooster
Well,
said,
life's too short and I love him too much.
there you go, baby. Rooster says, what was it like when you played for the first time in front of thousands of people?
We went to San Bernardino for the US Festival, and that was 400,000. And when we played Hell is for Children, I remember that distinctly. The sun had just started setting, and 400,000 kids raised both arms. So that's 800,000 arms beating the sky, protesting child abuse. And I get chills thinking about it.
That is freaking amazing. That is
It
just a
was. It really was. Changed my life.
oh, and Derek said when he was talking about the Rock and Roll Chicken Shack, he said that's coming from a New Orleans guy. So you know, if he's talking about coming to Arkansas just for the chicken strips, it must be some damn good chicken.
It must be good.
And Rob says, whatever happened to the drummer?
Myron Grumbucker. I got a band together a couple of years ago, and I wanted to get Myron to come play. And Myron said, I'm sorry, I'm retired. I don't play anymore. And that's been 3 years ago.
And Jan says she loves you even more now since you said that about Hambone, because
Oh, good.
she
Yeah. Well,
is a
now Myron worked at Toyota, I believe, and he put his daughter through college. So he was busy and he did the daddy thing, and I'm proud of him, and he's a good man and a great drummer. We had other drummers too. I did after Ginger Baker, we did Greg and I did an album together, and we had Ainsley Dunbar on drums. There's a metronome. He was wonderful. And then Ainsley only did the recording session with it. And after that, we got Matt Sorum on drums, just an excellent drummer. And right toward the end of the band, Matt disappeared. Couldn't find him. Finally got in touch with him, and he had joined up with Guns N' Roses. I
wow.
don't blame you. He got millions of dollars. Yeah, yeah. But I've played with some really good drummers.
What is the most what what is the first, like, I know you've had to meet so many of just your bucket list players, and what was your first, like, star moment where you met somebody that you had always looked up to and always just admired? What was the very first one that when you met them, it was just like,
Well, the first thing that pops up is we were playing down in Lakeland, Florida, and there was a bomb scare. So they cleared the club, and I'm sitting out in the limo, and I see this guy running across the tundra with some girls chasing him. So I motion out the window, come over here, and he comes and gets in the limo. And I close the windows and lock the doors, and he introduces himself, and it's Bob Seger. So we became friends that night and went uh, to a couple of shows. He invited us, and we became friends. We did good, but
that's pretty awesome. Hey, just
yeah, it was. It just happened out of nowhere.
um, Rob says, "Are you talking about Matt from Guns N' Roses in the coat?"
Exactly. Yes, Matt Sorum.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Great player, just fabulous.
I see David watching. I see Trey watching. I see Tanya watching. If you are watching, comment. I see Ralph, Mike, Petra. If you are watching, I know you have a question for Mr. Roger because, I mean, come on, this is Roger Katz from Pat Benatar. Who
I'll
don't?
tell you anything.
So it comment, like, love, and share. Let us know you're there. And he wants to know your questions. So my question to you, Rob, let's see. Rob's got another one. He said, "What is your relationship with Blondie?"
With who?
Blondie.
Well, we met them. We were on the same record label, and I had a band with their drummer too. It was short, but he's a good player. And blonde Debbie was just delightful. She's very pretty and talented, and was just as nice as anybody you've ever met.
Awesome. Michael says, has asked, has he seen 30 going on 30?
No, I haven't. What is it?
Michael, what is it? And Robert says, Roger, any chance of going on stage again with Patty?
Um, if they tour, the chances are pretty good. Um, I text Neil every couple of weeks, and he keeps me in the loop when they do things. And hopefully, yeah, that'd be great because that'd be a terrific reunion.
Oh
It's
my
been
God.
40 years, and that would be since we played together in what, 86, I think was the last time I played with them.
I would
So,
ha-
yeah, that would be quite a get together.
I would have to be there for sure. For sure.
I'd love that.
Rooster says, Roger, thank you for being you, brother man. You are just an amazing man.
I appreciate that. Well, it's
So,
easy when you got a nice puppy.
so what was it like? What was so you got with Patty and y'all got your epic lineup. What was your first major tour and who was on that tour with you?
Well, the first tour, well, before we toured and before we did the record, it was just me and Patty as a duo. And Mike Chapman, when she got the record deal, says, "Well, I want to hook you up with somebody. Uh, I think it would work." And he got in touch with Neil Giraldo. And Neil came to a rehearsal. I think he had a blue Fender, and it was Chicka 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 playing a little bit. I think I played Chameleon by uh, anyway for him to jam on, and he got warmed up, turned his back to us, and started wailing. Patty went down to her knees and started headbanging, and she fell in love with him right then at the first rehearsal in his audition. And of course, the rest is history. They got kids and everything.
Derek Pashon from 434 Management says, "What is your favorite song in the world?"
You know, I really like Shadows of the Night. It's a beautiful song. I like the video, even though it had Nazis in it. I was the only guy in the band that went up in the airplanes over San Bernardino from Burbank Airport, and we flew out over the ocean. And I teased the pilot. I made him do dives and barrel rolls, and we just had the best time up there. And on that song, I have I use my Fender bass and I use the eighth string bass. So uh, that's the only track that I use two basses on, and it is my favorite track, "Shadows of the Night." It's she sings it beautifully, and it's a beautifully written song.
So, what is your bass and amp of choice of playing? What is your
Well, on
signature?
tour, I use four Ampeg SVTs, but now you know, I'm old and weak, and I use smaller stuff, and they usually have stuff at the gigs I go play, but at home and when I play with bands by myself, I use an SWR Working Man's 15. It's got just the right sound for both my basses, and that's all. I keep it real simple. It sounds good. It's lightweight and does the job. I've
So,
got about 2 dozen basses and guitars, but I only take usually just my eighth string so that the bass player in the band can play too. Or I take my Fender bass too. I'll take two basses, but always my eighth string.
so what was it like when, you, like you said, you had put out the album and you got the announcement that, you know, that Into the Night went platinum and Crimes for Passion went platinum. What was it like to get, no that notice that, all this hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that y'all went through to make this happen? What was it like to be told that your album just went platinum?
Well, the first tour we went on the road, it was
And
booked for 6 weeks. Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
"And
right.
road."
And, to support In the Heat of the Night. And I had one song on there, My Clone Sleeps Alone, which I wrote as a tribute to David Bowie because of all his great science fiction songs. And when I played that for Patty, she just got so tickled and had to put it on the record. So that first tour was 6 weeks. And when we got into the sixth week, we got extended 2 weeks. And while we did those 2 weeks, we got extended 2 weeks more and 2 weeks more, where it went 14 and a half months and multi platinum for In the Heat of the Night. And being Roger Capps, I had to buy some champagne to celebrate that night.
I bet. I
Yeah,
bet. Rob
that's
says,
what champagne's for. Yeah.
Rob says, "Did you ever meet David Bowie?"
No, I never did. And he died before I had the chance.
So, Roger, well, I have you on here I'm probably going to get in trouble for this because I did play on my advertisement. I did play one of your songs, and Facebook zapped me. But since I have you on here, maybe they won't zap me. Let's see. Pat
Well,
Benatar.
I only wrote 3 songs: Hell is for Children, My Clone Sleeps Alone, and when I moved to New York, Pat's husband, Dennis, she and him, they would have fights, break up and get back together, break up and get back together. Um, he was a little stinker. So I wrote him a poem, and uh, that song became So Sincere.
Oh,
Patty says, Roger, that song, that poem you wrote, let's make a song out of it. I said, well, it's kind of personal. It said, well, you want to make some money? I said, okay. And so we made a song out of it. And I used bits and pieces from different artists to put the song together. One was from John McLaughlin. That's where the lead line comes from, the intro sound that we make. And
mhm.
and you just take bits and pieces and puzzle it together and make something that works. And So Sincere worked really good, and that was also a tribute to Sting and the Police, because it goes into that double time kind of ska feel, and that's because of the influence that the Police had on me.
Right. So what was it like, you know, being in this band with Patty? What is Patty like? I mean, she's got an amazing voice with such a range. Um, I was watching the interview from when they interviewed you on the American Bandstand, and she was telling them how she had, what is it, is a 3.5 octave range, I
Oh
believe,
yeah.
and
Well, I sat her at a
she
piano one time, and she
was
did eight
sing
and a half,
opera. 8.5.
but she
Lord,
had 3.5 usable on stage, but she could sit there and do 8.5. Yeah.
yeah, she said she used to do opera. I was like, I never knew that.
Her mother was opera trained, and Patty was too. I met Joanna Spires, her teacher, and she was a little Nazi strict, very strict teacher. And Patty, uh, who has high moral character, stuck with it and did everything she. That's why Patty can sing loud concerts and still be able to sing the next day, because she knows how to treat her voice.
Right, right. So when when will we see, when is there an opportunity when we could see you play live again once this COVID stuff and stuff goes away? Are you going to be playing again with that Pat Benatar tribute band that I seen you play with?
Um, yeah, there must be 2 dozen tribute bands. I haven't played with all of them, but I was looking through Facebook today. It pops up. 3 years ago you played this, and 4 years ago you played that, and there's a lot of really good Benatar tribute bands out there, and I love playing with them because number one, I don't have to rehearse because I know the songs or wrote them,
Right.
and number two, people that go to those shows love the music anyway. So it's a win-win for me,
And you get to bring ham bone. Gotta have
and I get to bring Hambone. Yeah, that's
that
that's
ham bone with
that's
you.
on the rider.
Roger, you are awesome. And what
Oh,
would
Mary, I wanted to tell you, You asked me before what Pat was like.
Yeah.
Um, Pat and Neil both, and she wouldn't marry just anybody. Once she got rid of that first husband, Pat and Neil are the most fair, judicious, nice people I've ever known. They were just Pat would always pay the musicians whether she got paid or not. Neil was always magnanimous and would share his ideas and let you contribute. And it was just the best environment any musician could ever be in. Those two were just the best people I've ever known.
That is awesome. Do you think that there's any chance at a later date that maybe I could get you back on the show and maybe we can bring Pat and Neil on and y'all can have like a reunion and reminisce of old times?
Anytime you want, you've got my number. I'm always here for you, Mary.
Well, thank you, sweetheart. And Rooster said, who was your favorite band that you played with on tour?
Well, that's Benatar for sure.
Well, duh.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
No, who's
Uh,
the favorite band that, you and Pat had ever toured with? That
um, we toured with. We did a couple of shows with Journey. Ainsley Dunbar was playing drums with them. We did a couple of big concerts with them. Uh, and we didn't really, we had a couple of bands that toured with us. They were up and coming bands, and they were all really good. But as far as favorite bands, I probably like what everybody likes. I
music
was
there.
early on. I was an R&B guy. And then when I discovered and rock and roll discovered me, I started liking a lot of other bands. The Police, I think, probably was my favorite band because they were a trio. I saw them live several times at the Bottom Line in New York, and I just never heard three pieces sound as fantastic as those three guys were. Sting could sing and play perfectly every time, and the band, the drummer was just fabulous, and the guitar player was great too. That's probably my favorite band.
So, Roger, it is a true, true honor. Can you tell you said that you had a gig you were going to play tonight. If you are watching and you are in the Seattle area, Roger, is this a gig that is actually open to the public, or is this a private gig that you're going to be playing?
Well, I text my manager. He's out at work, to see if it was public or not, and he hasn't got back to me yet. I don't know, but I will post it on my Facebook as soon as I find out.
Well, when you do, sweetheart, you tag me in that post and I will definitely share it. And you make sure somebody has their phone and they are videoing it because I want to see it. And
Yeah,
it's
I can't wait to see what we play. I have no idea.
and and I talked to your manager just to let him know I was interviewing you. And he seems like such a nice guy. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, Tony is. Yeah,
He
yeah.
was like, sure, it's cool. That's awesome.
Well, I met him earlier this year. I had a car wreck and I woke up in the hospital. Got out of the hospital, and my friend Lynn, I was at her house. She took care of me, and Tony is Lynn's boyfriend. And Tony took me up here to Burien, Washington, and I live with Tony now, and he's my manager and takes real good care of me.
Greg says, "Hello, Roger. For those
Hi,
just
Greg.
for those just coming on, you are having the honor of talking with Mr. Roger Capps, the original bass player for one of my idols, Miss Pat Benatar. So, what was it like when, you know, how many tours, how many, so you were with her from 79 to 84, correct?
No, 74 to 84, 10
So
years.
74 to
Yeah,
84.
because we were in that first band in Richmond, Virginia
Oh,
together.
yeah,
That
that's right.
counts.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. It does count. Every one of them counts.
We did
So,
4 world tours.
4 world tours. So what is
Come
the
in.
what is the biggest crowd that you ever
Do me a
played in
favor.
front of?
Can you save a shower for tonight before my dad gets home? So you can
Okay.
shower when he gets here. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
What is the biggest crowd that you ever played in front of, sweetheart?
Oh, that's definitely 400,000 plus at the US Festival in San Bernardino. I think that was 82.
Dang. Derek Pashon says, "Have you ever been to New Orleans?"
Yeah, several times. Yeah, good food, good people.
Yeah, Derek's from there. He's owner of 434 Management. He's my brother from another mother, and he is awesome. Greg
Well,
says, ask
tell him to hook me up. I'd love to come down again.
Derek, he would love to come down again. Greg says, ask him about Carrie. He'll get a kick out of it.
Oh, Carrie Hodge? Yeah. Carrie Hodge is the one that says, Roger, get a bass and an amp or you're fired. I became a bass player because of Carrie Hodge.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, he's a good friend. I talk to him every couple of months.
That's awesome. So, Roger, before we get off here, is what would you like to say to your fans? You've got dedicated fans that Derek says, oh, Derek already got his number, sweetheart. Derek says, get his number and we will bring him to Louisiana and make that happen ASAP.
Wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell all the Benatar fans out there that I really appreciate you being there for us. And if it weren't for you, I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be happy. Thank you so much.
You are amazing, Roger, and we will keep in touch. You are family now. You are part of the Mama Mary family, and
Thank you, Mary.
and
I
when
look forward to visiting.
and when Derek gets that trip set up to Louisiana, you'll get to meet me, baby, because I will be there with him and his
Oh,
family.
yeah, you're not far. Arkansas is right next to it, huh?
Right? And that's my brother from another mother. So when we get that set up, you can bet I'm going to be there. Sarah says, some of the best moments growing up of my mom and I rocking out to Pat. So thank you so much for that.
Well, I'm glad she loves Pat because she's worth loving. They're
And
just a great couple.
Donna says, hello, Roger.
Hi there.
Let's see, that's Donna Griffith. Is that how you say her last name? Yeah, Donna Griffith. So you've got some very,
Donna Griffith. Yeah, I texted her this morning.
yep. And she's saying hello.
Yeah, we've been friends for a couple of decades.
Well, that is awesome. And this is a true honor. So, what is your, if you could have your choice of bands to sit in with or bass players to sit in with that you have never had a chance to do that with, who would it be? Whether it's someone that is alive or someone that's already went to heaven, who would it be, the one person that you would have loved to share the stage with?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. That's a tough one. Where did you come up with that?
Right here in my head.
Oh, oh, I just, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. Uh, I've got a. There's so many favorite players, and I just don't know.
Glenn Cunningham says, "Hello, Roger." And there are those platinum albums. Oh my God, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. How many is there? You hit your mute button, baby. Unmute yourself.
There we go.
How
Yeah, it's a five and a three, and I've got a whole bunch more, but there's just no space on the wall for them. There's too many.
so how many total platinum and gold albums do you have?
I lost track. I've got uh, for every platinum, there's a gold, and there's multi platinum on every one of them. So I don't know. I think there's probably that box. There's two boxes. I've got about 20 more.
Roger Robert says he could see you play with Clapton, Eric Clapton.
Ah, yeah, he's a tasty player. Yeah. Um, I would pick Jimmy Page too. Uh, Jimmy is one of the most original musicians there ever was. You know, he's just fabulous.
Well, Roger, I want to personally thank you for being on Mama Mary's Music Mayhem. This is a true honor, and it's an honor that you are now part of the family. And at a later date, let's get you back on here. Let's get in touch with Patty and let's set it up to where we can do a live show with you, with Patty, and let's have a like an online reunion. How does that sound?
That sounds terrific. Thank you so much, Mary. I really love meeting you. And anytime you want me, just let me know.
Uh, God bless you, brother. And don't you ever stop playing that bass. And you give that
I
baby
can't.
bone lots of love from me. You hear me?
Yeah, well, that's impossible for me not to play ever since I discovered music. And I mean, I when in 1992 I got with a girl and I said, "Well, I'm a musician. I better get a job." So I worked at a software company for 8 years. But other than that, it's only been music.
Well, you just keep playing the music because you have truly given a true blessing to so many people. And
Thank you so
I
much.
wait to see what the future holds, sweetheart. And I'll get in touch with Patty's manager, and or if you want to, and we'll get it set up, and we'll just have a big old family reunion.
Sounds good to me. Love you, Mary. Thank you so much.
Love you too, Roger, and you have a great night at your gig tonight, okay?
Thank you. We will
Stay
have fun.
all right. Love you, brother.
All righty. Bye bye.
Guys, that is awesome. That was Mr. Roger Capps, the one and only original bass player for Pat Benatar. That was a true honor. Thank you, Rooster and Rob, for helping me get that set up. And I want to thank all of you Mama Mary fans for sticking around and watching every show. You are amazing. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Mama Mary's Music Mayhem sponsors, RFL Records, Soundbone Promo, and Dazzle You Promotions. Also, want to give a big shout out to 434 Management and all of you fans. Make sure y'all go to teespring.com/ Mama Mary's Music Mayhem and get your merch, because I will be having another giveaway for a chance to win a Mama Mary's Music Mayhem duffel bag. So, guys, I love you. Oh, thank you, Robert. Thank you. And thank you, Rooster. Thank you, Jan Marie. I love you. Mwah. I love all of you. And speaking of Jan Marie, y'all will learn about her real soon. And oh, I love you guys too. You guys are awesome. So, you guys have a great Saturday. Y'all stay safe. And Tuesday, on my Double Shot Tuesday, we have at 4 p.m., we have Wild Street. And at 5 p.m., we have Midnight Devils. So until then, y'all stay safe and keep rocking because Mama Mary said so.